Lo, there do I see my father. Lo, there do I see my mother.
And my sisters and my brothers. Lo, there do I see the line of my people, back to the beginning.
Lo, they do call to me. They bid me take my place among them.
In the halls of Valhalla, where the brave may live forever.
These are the voyages of the starship Ragnar. Her mission: to explore the Shackleton expanse for new friends and allies, and to fearlessly peer into that final frontier.
And fearlessly peering into that final frontier is exactly what we are going to be doing here this evening with the intrepid crew of the USS Ragnar. This is the epilogue episode, the epilogue episode of Star Trek Valhalla, a Star Trek Adventures actual play. After 3 delightful seasons, we are coming to our conclusion. And last week's episode was our final official episode, as it were. But the epilogue episode is going to give each of our amazing crew members, as well as the just you guys. It's all about you guys tonight. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. Probably do some crying, but it's fine. But Drill, really good to see you here in the audience. We actually were talking about one of your characters earlier, a guest star at one point, so you're really cool. But as is tradition, and for our final time, we are going to have everyone go around the table, tell us who they are and what character they are saying goodbye to today. But without further ado, out of this old hound wolf, take it away. We are going to go Brian, Symbol, Sidereal Day, Chewbacca, Charles Warren. Take it away.
Good evening. I am Brian. I am at MindOverBrian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a 0. And I am saying goodbye to Captain Alden. Nope, that's Symbol's name for his character. I'm Asba Treso. I'm saying goodbye to Alden Paris too, but I am saying goodbye to Asba Treso, the captain of the USS Ragnar.
God bless you, Brian. You are tired, and it's okay. We still love you. Symbol, my man.
So yes, Symbol24 here. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and those under the name. And I am saying goodbye to Alden Paris, the science officer of the Ragnar, member of the great Paris family, and legacy owner. He owns his legacy now.
Oh yeah, he does. Hell fucking yeah, he does.
Good evening. I'm Sidereal Day, and I am having some technical difficulties today. I don't think my camera wants us to end Star Trek. It wants us to postpone another week or 2.
That's fair.
I'm saying goodbye to Commander Ajay Shahira, who will have been the Bajoran Chief Medical Officer and First Officer on the Ragnar.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Hi, I'm Drew. I am saying goodbye to Lieutenant Commander Krev Glosh, the Tellarite Chief Engineer of the Ragnar. Round face.
And I'm Charles Warren. I'm saying goodbye to Ensign Zed, our Ferengi Chief of Operations and Chief of Security.
And heart and soul.
Heart of the soul of the ship.
Oh, thank you.
And of course, I am Darewolf. I am the game master of this intrepid crew. And I am here to, well, really just have the crew tell us some stories about what happens. So our setup for this epilogue episode is that it has been roughly a year since the events of our final episode, and the Federation Klingon War has wrapped up in a climactic battle between the Federation and the Klingons, and I effectively told the crew here to basically make up what they want to make up and have at it. So our scene, which will sort of be that is to say, kind of our setting for this epilogue, is 4 of the 5 senior staff sitting at the lounge of Starbase 123. Lieutenant Paris is absent per his request. But I'm curious, does anyone want to take the reins on this? Does anyone want to go first with their epilogue? Or how would you guys like to proceed? Anyone feeling dandy? Captain Tracy.
I'd like to go last, but I assume everybody wants to go last, so
Yeah.
I will go first
Well-
if that's how it
Well,
if that's how it shakes
given-
out.
Given what you said you wanted to describe, I figured it made sense for you to go first, but I don't know what everyone else did.
Like that.
So I'm going first then.
You're
so
going
here.
first, Brian.
Oh yeah, or I could go first if you really want to go last.
I mean, it does
The
make
thing is
sense
this-
for the heart to beat
Mhm.
first. You know, it's the first thing
Sure.
that happens when
I'm-
for an embryo is the heartbeat, right? That's the first thing you notice. So, I mean, there you go. Yeah,
All right.
you are the heart of the ship.
Okay. So just
Take it
go
away.
with the log.
Take
All
it
right,
away,
guys.
Ensign said. Just take it away, man.
All right. Personal log, stardate 44002.5. It has been a most trying year. This war with the Klingons, it was something I relentlessly prepared for, yet at the same time it was something that I desperately dreaded. I joined Starfleet to explore the universe, to learn more about the other life forms spread amongst the stars, to discover new means of profit for all living beings. And I don't mean profit as in financial gain, like the majority of other Ferengis do. I mean it as to be beneficial to obtain a benefit. I like to borrow the words of the esteemed Ambassador Spock when I say, the profit of the many outweighs the profit of the few. War, I feel, is the very antithesis of the goals of the Federation. But war we had, thrust upon us by the Klingons. I diligently performed my duties as Chief of Security aboard the Ragnar during this war, but I'm certain that my fellow crew members will attest it took a toll on me. Even Mr. Velez noted that I looked strained, tired, as if some of the light that had been inside me had dimmed, and he was not wrong. But it was my fellow officers, no, my friends, who once again renewed my spirits. Through their heroism, their humanity, and their never-wavering example of Starfleet and Federation values, I began to realize, as a Starfleet officer, I felt this war had forced me to become something I did not wish to be, a warrior. But my friends reminded me that to be a Starfleet officer is also to be a guardian, a protector of those who cannot protect themselves. Thanks to my friends, my hope was restored, and I was able to finish out the war with the conviction that what I was doing was indeed for the profit of the many. There was one incident that occurred towards the end of the war that even my friends are not aware of. In the 9th month of the war, I was contacted by my brother, Deck. My father Grant was deathly ill, he said. Captain Traso approved a brief period of emergency leave to allow me to visit my father on Ferenginar, but once I was there, Deck revealed to me that father was not ill at all. He had been kidnapped by Brock, the dangerous Ferengi black marketeer that I owed a favor to, back from when Commander Ajay and I had served on Keldron 5. He threatened me. He would kill my father if I didn't steal Federation secrets for him. No doubt he planned to sell those to the Klingons. But that's when I used it. If you remember, in Mission Log Year 1, Segment 8, that was when the Ragnar was under investigation by Commander Darcy Cade of the Department of Temporal Investigations. At that time, Commander Cade gave me a device to contact her with, saying that she could help me take care of any problems that might arise from Brock in the future. although I am not at liberty to discuss the exact details of what transpired when I decided to contact her, all I can say is that soon afterwards, Commander Cade met me on Ferenginar. My father was freed, and measures were taken so that Brock would trouble me no more. But all of this, of course, is classified. So I could not share this with my friends at the time, nor could I disclose this to them when we all met in the bar on Starbase 123 to say our farewells before our new assignments and to commemorate our time together. As I lifted my glass of spinach juice to toast my friends, I admit there were tears in this Ferengi's eyes as I regarded my fellow officers. I had learned so much from them. From Captain Treso, how to lead with compassion and how to remain true to the values of the Federation even in the face of adversity. From Commander Ajay, how to run my security department through her example, how to heal others, and not just in the physical sense, but how to analytically study a problem and to find a solution to it. From Commander Krev, how to do what is right and what needs to be done, and to hell with bureaucracy, rules, and regulations when something really needs to be done. And from Lieutenant Paris, how to be bold and daring, how to think outside of the box to find unorthodox solutions to seemingly impossible problems, and what it means to have a best friend. But all of them together, my friends showed me what it means to be a Starfleet officer. I first met them as an ensign, fresh out of the academy. Now, after the war, I've been promoted to lieutenant junior grade. I have a new assignment on a new ship, and although in a few days we may be entire star sectors apart, they will always be with me. After our goodbyes at the Starbase bar, I made my way to the departure bay to meet the runabout that was to take me to my new assignment, the USS Odyssey, where I would be the new chief of security. But as I entered the runabout, I was surprised to see that only one other person was there. Was it Commander Cade? Lieutenant Zed, she said. Welcome aboard. Forgive my appearance, I only had time to change my uniform. In the pilot's seat was Commander Samina Velia of the USS Boudica, but in the uniform I last recalled Commander Darcy Cade wearing. I was most confused. Stop oogling and grab your debrief pad, she smiled, indicating the secure pad lying on the co-pilot's seat. I unlocked it with my fingerprint and began scanning the mission briefing, but before I could read too far, she interrupted. Have a seat, Lieutenant. We have a dark expanse to get to. Was Samina Velia her true identity, or was it Darcy Cade? And had I been recruited into Starfleet intelligence? I didn't have time to come to a conclusion before our runabout was speeding out of the space dock. Now, as I write this, the runabout has departed Starbase 123, and we are traveling at warp speed to some classified destination where I, Lieutenant Zed, will embark on the next phase of my adventures. I have no doubt that they will be most fascinating. End log.
Fucking hell, man. Well played. That was fucking great, dude.
And
That was
also,
fucking great.
The parts for Lieutenant Cade were Adrillian made a guest appearance to help me craft the parts of hers.
That is awesome.
Thank you very
you
much.
reached out to her to get this?
I did, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is a drill. Thank you so much, dude. That is awesome. That was great, Charles. You may have one momentum for that. You may have one momentum. Yes, that's very good. Very good. Very good. That's very nice. Who would like to go next?
No one wants to go next.
Yeah, like how do you follow that?
Are you kidding? We have to go next after that?
I mean, we could just end it there. I mean, it's what it is.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Series
watching.
over. Thanks. Bye.
Again, I'll say I want to go last, but if it shakes out that I need to go next, I will.
I could always roll a d4.
I'll go. Mine is a lot less involved, obviously, than
okay.
Zed's.
yeah.
It's not a competition, guys. Just have fun.
I know.
It's all good.
No, but he won
It
it
is a
anyway.
competition.
He did
Yeah,
win.
he won.
The competition is who can make everyone else tear up, and Charles just won.
Look at him, he's so proud of himself. I love it. He's like,
no,
"Look at me."
no, I want to hear what happens to everyone. So
You're the fucking man. You're the heart.
All right. So here, hold on. Let me get my notes back open. My notes. I gotta get my notes. So Krev, during the final battle, at Cestus 4, I believe we decided it was, correct?
Callista or Capella.
Callista
Sorry,
4.
Capella
4.
Capella 4.
Capella 4, I'm sorry. Krev was injured, not like spectacularly, but he has a very pronounced limp as he limps himself and sits at the bar, tries to order a Romulan ale, gets turned down, tries to bribe the bartender into giving him Romulan ale anyways, is again turned down, and finally settles on Saurian brandy. He looks over at his friends and says, well, I guess this is it. It's been a pleasure, my friends. And he kind of looks a little nervous and reaches into one of his pockets and says, I kind of did a thing, guys. And he pulls off one of his pips and replaces it with the commander's pip. And then
What?
puts on a fourth pip.
What?
I may have accepted a promotion finally to not captain a starship, but to head the Starfleet engineering branch of the Warp Propulsion Institute, or the Warp Propulsion Center at the Daystrom Institute.
What?
I know it's not fixing starships and blowing stuff up and arguing with captains, but honestly, I'm getting too old for this. And he kind of shifts his bum knee. And again, I want to thank you specifically, Commander Ajay, for the treatment that you provided. With your help, Lena and I we're gonna give it another go.
Oh,
I just want to thank you all. This has probably been the best crew I've been on. Don't tell anyone I said that. Oh, and Bronson was finally admitted to Starfleet Academy. I'll be taking her with me on my way to the Daystrom Institute.
Yes. Love that. Fucking great.
That's as sentimental as he's gonna get.
Great. No, that
That's
is
fair.
beautiful. That is beautiful, brother. That is absolutely beautiful. Well played. Well played, sir. Well played. That was great. That was great. Who now would like to go next?
All right, I'm willing to go next now.
Okay. All right.
I just didn't want to follow.
I get it. I'm just glad to hear that Bronson is going with. I was gonna make that happen anyway, but you beat me to the punchline, so that's fine. Yeah, Mimi, take it away.
Okay. Stardate 44002.5. I've personal log. I've recorded my final logs as the Ragnar's CMO and first officer. I knew this day would come, of course, but to have it be this early and in this way aches. The last of my patients have been released or signed over to Starbase 123's medical staff. Most of them will be sent onward from there, off to specialists or their homeworlds. Only the most grievously injured remain at this point. Everyone else sought to leave what's left of the Ragnar under their own power. And, of course, none of the starbases truly want to hold those they don't have to. Not after being inundated in the wake of the Second Battle of Capella 4. Between survivors and the ships that limped home, everyone's overwhelmed, even with Star Command directing those ships that could go further for repairs to do so. It will be a relief to depart, in a way. To get away from the overwhelming grief and the reminders of the war. To return to active duty that isn't a wartime footing. And what a task I've been given. Commanding officer of the USS Lauthan, set to return to the Klingon border and render medical and scientific aid to the worlds and colonies affected by the war. The science is admittedly a bit outside of my area of expertise. I'm far more accustomed to sentience, not fixing the scars battles leave on ecosystems, but it promises to prove an interesting challenge, and I'm excited about some of the science behind the terraforming measures that have been mentioned. I've seen some familiar names in the ship's roster, but none amongst my senior crew. This won't be the first time I've walked in blind, of course, and if I've learned anything from watching Captain Traso, it's that if things go poorly, it's my own fault for not managing different personalities and trying to work with them. I can't help but wish I could take some of my current crew with me, but the necessities of the post-war era mean that it's become a little difficult to make personnel requests. I'm grateful that I've been given the chance to heal what I helped break. If I were sent off to another starbase or on one of the many diplomatic missions happening right now, I think I would always hold regrets. Being able to make direct reparations, it's not an erasure of the harm I've done during this cursed war, but it's a step in the right direction. It's about time to go and meet the rest of the Ragnar's former senior staff. The nature of Starfleet means we may never serve together again, but I have faith that we'll see each other sometime in the future. There's something special about every ship and every crew, but this one's been something, even with that tradition. May we all meet again, my friends, in lighter times with happier stories to share. End log.
Really beautiful. Well done. You may have 2 additional momentum for Krev and Sidereal Days and Commander Ajay's. That should get you up to 4, I believe. You have 4 momentum, which is perfect. You may have 2 more. It's great.
I would like to give you a threat.
I will take that threat. I will increase your next roll's complication to a 10 to 20. I'll spend all of my threat. So good luck with that one. Yes. You might succeed, but you'll also fail. There it is. It's going to be great.
There'll be a complication.
Yes. Next up, we have 2 more. We have 2 more.
Right.
Symbol?
I'll go. I'll let the
all right.
captain finish.
Kev's getting the final word. Ooh. All right.
Of course, I couldn't not let the captain have the final word.
Is there a particular place that you'd like to be, or should we leave it at the bar? What is your...
So I am going to explain it, but basically it's the day of the meeting at the bar.
Perfect. Take it away, my friend.
Yep. So we open our scene, like Wolf likes to say, on an aft view from a lounge of a fairly small ship. The engineering section can be plainly seen. It's fairly small, with 2 small nacelles clearly visible. At the table in front of the viewport is Paris and Hagen, one hand clasping each other. Hagen seems to be reading something on a datapad, while Paris is doing his usual log recordings in a crowded place. Although this time there doesn't seem to be any sound that seems to be around them, as if no one in the lounge area they are is making any sound, and no one really seems to be paying them any attention. Computer. Personal log, stardate 4401.5, Alden Paris. Deliver this message to Captain Traso, Commander Ajay, Captain Krev, and Lieutenant Zed. sorry I'm missing the get-together. I guarantee you this is not one of my antics. Seems Admiral Janeway really needed our ship to be en route immediately. I will miss you guys, and I will miss that beautiful ship. I mean, the Ragnar was a beautiful ship even before the modifications. Captain, I want to thank you for your support and your confidence over the past year. Without your guidance, I don't think I would have been able to turn my antics into something as useful as they were. Even allowing me to command the ship while Mr. Zed and yourself were off somewhere, and while Doctor was, doing Doctor things. Oh, and don't let that Vulcan witch tell you did anything illogical. What was her name again? Vincent? Vanica? Anyways, you'll be happy to know Captain Variok still thinks you had the better idea for your plan. I still don't know how you managed to get him to pick me. I can only think there were many cases of a certain blue liquid. Anyway, it's been 2 weeks now, and my hands are still clammy when I get on the bridge. Doc, Hagen says he sent you some authentic Mappa flour, a case of Bajoran spring wine, and what he calls the best sugar candy of DS9. I just wanted to thank you again for all you did for us. Your compassion, your steadfastness will be missed. Zed may have been the heart and soul of the crew, but you were our mother. Still remember the faces of those Klingons on the view screen when they poked the mama bear? Yeah, remind them. I'm just remind me never to do that, right? Anyways, and if you see Nurse Tomas, I think he's gonna be under your command. He still owes me a crate of root beer for those lollipops. Just because a Klingon destroyed them doesn't mean his debt is wiped clean. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on the official channel. Computer, clear the last 2 sentences. Just say hi to Tomas, and if you see him, just tell him he's going to make a great counselor someday. Captain Krev. I never expected to say that one. I'm very happy for you, man. I did manage to find the tricorder in the debris field. Still broken at the moment, but I'm sure I can fix it. I also want to thank you for being the grumpy old engineer that you are. Without your high standards, I don't think I could have been as efficient in my antics as I could have been. But it also shows me, how I can be a better person, a better leader, and a better engineer. It also allows me to see what the juniors are doing on this ship, see their antics, and decide, when to intervene or not. I'm also including a schematic for a new dilithium chamber. It changes the color of the nacelles and the warp core without being hollow emitters to purple, and has the added benefit of increasing performance by 2%. I'm sure you can get some more percentages of that there. Oh, our chief, I don't know his name yet. He says he beat you on an efficiency standard of 0.6%, and he has 0.7. I took the liberty of checking his data, and he's off, and it's only 0.55, so you still beat him. Don't tell him I said that. Zed, buddy old pal, I do have to, as per our formal contract of best friendship, formally request a suspension of in-person activities for the next 6 months, as per subsection 6 of paragraph 12. Seems I may not be close enough for you for that period of time. I can't really say anymore. It was a pleasure working with you, good sir. May you provide your next captain the heart he needs for his ship. That being said, I can't wait to beat you again on Velocity. You may be a chief of security. Your phaser skills still need to be sharp. Just saying. Also, don't let Valles out of your sight. You need a good friend. And you need maybe not even the best friend, but you need a good friend, and I'm sure he can do that for you on your next ship. Oh, my uncle sends his regards and is very happy to learn that you liked his plate. He was way too proud of those things, and since you lost yours in the final battle, he's sending everyone a plate with my name as the delivery. I hate my family sometimes. Oh, funny thing. Yesterday we crossed paths with a Ferengi trading ship who may or may not have been, participating in illegal activities. Your uncle Gort really wanted us to know that you were in Starfleet and that he really respected us. Until he fired on us and ran away. APB's been put out. I see you also have an interesting family. And to everyone else, my Uncle Tom was very saddened to hear about the loss of the Ragnar and has made commemorative plates for the ship and has sent all of us an example of those plates with an order form for us to fill out if you want to order more at our expense. And log and transmit. Pyrus takes a sip of his drink, looks at Hagen, squeezes his hand, and then continues dictating. Computer, First Officer's log, USS Saltus, Lieutenant Commander Alden Paris, stardate 44001.5. Routine is finally settling in to the crew of the Saltus after my abrupt arrival last week. Admiral Janeway has us leave early from Starbase 123 for a research and retrieval mission somewhere deep inside their territory. Although only the senior staff know what the mission actually is, the rumor mill about the Saltus has been running wild, and a few are hitting uncomfortably close to the truth. We are due at DS9 in 3 days at 5. For a time-sensitive mission, we sure are making it look like a routine science mission in the Gamma Quadrant. Captain Variak is on edge, as is everyone else, but somehow, other than myself, the medical staff, and I think no one else really notices what I notice. I always wondered how Captain Treso did that. I think I do now. Lieutenant Hagen is officially starting his new position as head nurse of on the Solstice today. The previous head nurse, none too happy, will be leaving at DS9 for his new ship to aid in the Klingon health recovery, whatever you want to call it. The war may be over, but we are still on the mend. Starfleet intelligence has black boxed the quantum cloaking and the quantum tunneler. After reports the tunneler had been used during the war as a weapon of mass destruction. Wasn't designed for that, and I won't say I'm unhappy to see it put away. And log. So before looking up, Paris taps a few keys on his data pad. A black box appears on the pad with the words connected displayed in a green font. Paris taps away a few more keys and the text is replaced with, "We are in place." After a few seconds, the text is then replaced again with, "Begin operation, find them, suspected 2 on board." Paris presses a button on the tablet, which seems to glitch the tablet for a second, and it returns to previous state just before he opened the first pop-up. Looking up, he squeezes Hagen's hand 3 times, nods. Hagen nods back, and they both get up, tap on their comm badge, which transitions from a black overlay to the normal Starfleet insignia and color. The world seems to return to normal, and they leave the lounge.
Done fucking done. Love it. Absolutely love it. That was awesome. You may have an additional momentum. That should bring you to 5, which is fantastic.
Just momentum.
That was great.
Already my face hurts from smiling.
I'm smiling
so
a lot too. Yeah,
it's
great. These are great. Great.
Yes.
Blowing. I had high expectations. You're blowing them out of the water. Well, last, certainly not least, Captain Treso, take it away. And he is muted, as is tradition.
As is tradition. Somebody had to do it, right? Final Captain's Log, Stardate 44002.5. This one's bittersweet. I thought the Ragnar would be my ship until I retired. I have no interest in moving behind a desk, and that little ship is the best of Starfleet's values and endeavors, all rolled into a sleek little package. But she's going into dry dock for a long time after that battle. Starfleet needs its best and brightest to lead a new, more hopeful generation. The war is over. The second battle of Capella 4 was a brutal one. If it hadn't been for the heroics of my crew, there wouldn't be a Ragnar to dry dock. The Klingons had us pinned down and separated from the fleet, and Krev and Zed's plan to jettison the spare warp core into the midst of those D7s and detonating it by firing those torpedoes was inspired. By that time, the ship was on its last legs. Alden's inspired adjustments to the structural integrity field to hold the ship together while the crew evacuated were integral, and Shahira's calm and cool demeanor as she organized the evacuation really demonstrated both of their command capacities. The fact that we didn't have a single loss of life through that evacuation and the preceding battle really spoke to the resilience and preparedness of our crew. I could not be prouder of them. They're all moving on, of course. I've spent all my influence making sure that my people got the kinds of postings they deserved, which only leaves me. I've accepted command of a Bradbury-class ship, the USS Morrow. The crew's still being assembled, and I can only hope I'll be as fortunate in my choices as I was for the Ragnar, but I won't hold my breath. If any of you ever hear this, Krev, Shahira, Alden, Zed, it has been an honor serving with all of you. Krev, you'll always be chief engineer on my ship, my friend. Shahira, may your commands be as fulfilling and rewarding as my service with you has been. Alden, you will always be more than a Paris. Don't let that name drag you down. And Zed, please, forevermore, call me Asba. End log. Sorry I'm late, friends. I had a little sentimental work to finish, but next round's on me.
And as glasses are raised and clinked together, we pan away from the final scene of Star Trek Valhalla, and we move over to the after show thing where we have all the actors and actresses sitting around, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, so that was a crazy series, everybody," and we're actually here live with the cast of Star Trek Valhalla. For a little post-season wrap-up. And we actually have some questions from our viewers that we've compiled, and really just wanted to get a feel. How's everyone feeling? Let's start with that. How's everyone doing today? Feeling good, hopefully? Yeah? Yeah?
A little bittersweet, but, you know.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it is a little bittersweet, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got a couple prepared questions that we wanted to go around the table. And we actually asked this one in our preamble. But the viewers wanted to know two questions.
Did they know?
Who was your favorite NPC, and who was your least favorite NPC during our 3 seasons of Star Trek Valhalla? And I'd like to start with Symbol, actually. Who was your favorite and least favorite NPC of and least favorite would be like, what's the one you hated the most, right? Like, you're like, fuck that guy. I want to know. So who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite?
So, my least favorite for being too good at their job was a certain commander portrayed by Drill.
Ooh, that's good.
I love you, Drill, but I hated that character.
Yes, he was so. That was great. That was a lot. That was a good episode.
I thought Commander Cade was just fine.
Yeah, you're so friendly.
He was your best friend, and I hate you for it, Zed.
I remember Drill messaging me during that scene. Like, I just want to be nice to him. Like, he's so sweet. I can't meet him. I was like, that's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
I think that made it even better. I think that she was so nice with Zed, because Zed is just an open book. She's like, yeah, I'll tell you everything, and I loved it, and I hated it. But that was, you know, but my favorite also goes out to another played by a player, but still considered an NPC. The poor lieutenant commander that had to bring Brian to trial. Aaron
Yeah.
did such a good job at feeling awkward in that position that I couldn't hate him for it.
That is awesome. Yeah, Aaron did a fantastic job. I think I really want to give a shout out to our 2 guest stars, Drillian and Soviet Menace. Aaron, aka Aaron, they did a fantastic job bringing these characters to life. And as a GM, I just had to sit there and watch. So those were some of my favorite episodes because I didn't really have to do much. Just had to be there, and I basically got to watch the series unfold. So that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Let's see here. Let's same question. And thank you, Drill. It was a lot of fun to have you. Appreciate you. And let's see here. Let's go over to Brian. Actually, I want to hear Brian. What was your favorite NPC or your least favorite NPC during the series?
So my favorite NPC was we met that friendly Q, who was just like looking for a captain to be her pet. But that was pretty good. I liked her very much. My least favorite was the Andorian who got gifted Dark Q powers, and because he was an asshole. Although it occurred to me while we were talking earlier that he only very narrowly beat out that one admiral who insisted that despite the fact I was found innocent, I was getting a 6-month penal colony trip too. What? That's not how innocent works.
That's not how the law works. What are you talking about? He's like, you might have been found innocent, but I hate you, so you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
That was personal. Hilarious. I love it. Let's see here. How about Sidereal Day? Take it away.
Okay, so earlier I thought that my least favorite character was Eva Cole, but then I was reminded about that Andorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Andorian was
Oh,
my least favorite.
he was a real stick in the mud. I'll tell you that much. Real stick in the mud.
Like, Eva Cole at least had a very sympathetic motivation, even if I hated what it was driving her to do. That Andorian had no redeeming qualities.
No,
None.
he
Not
was
even
an
one.
asshole.
And I wish I hadn't saved him. I wish that extended task had failed. Like, in retrospect.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And your favorite?
My favorite NPC was Hagen.
Yeah.
I liked, like, the first time we meet him, he's pretending to be me and then knocks himself out with a hypo. And then look at him here, where he's possibly Mirrorverse or possibly undercover investigating Mirrorverse.
We don't know. We'll see what happens. See what happens. I like that. That's good. Good cliffhanger. Let's see here. Let's go over to Drubaka. Your favorite and least favorite NPCs. You may be muted.
Oh, yes, muted.
For once, it was me.
Yes. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties in the studio. Apologies. We'll get that
as per
worked out.
tradition. My least favorite, I will start with, was Admiral Locke, for reasons.
Sammy
For
Hands.
meta
That-
reasons.
Sammy Hands.
Yeah, it's because he had moist hands, his
Sammy
little
hands.
sweat under the. Yeah.
Godfrey Silas Locke. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
to meet
fuck
you.
Fuck you, Wolf. Go fuck yourself. My favorite was, I mean, obviously Bronson.
Yeah.
That, like, I feel like 50 to 75% of the, like, really powerful character moments I had with Krev was because of her. I really got to give it to you, Wolf. Like, you did a great job, like, bringing out the soft part, the soft underbelly of Krev, with her. She was a great addition to the cast, to the group.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. Glad to hear it. She was a lot of fun to play, and she was a lot of fun to play off of Karev. So hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I love it. Charles Warren. Your
All
favorite and
right.
least favorite NPC.
So what I couldn't tell you all earlier during the pre-show was how much I liked Adrillian's character, Commander Cade, because I didn't want to spoil the surprise of her collaboration. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed her appearance. But also my favorite, like I said, was Dr. Van Helsing. I thought
Dr. Van
I thought
Helsing.
he was great. You were really
Quite the
into
pleasure.
his customs, his behaviors. You know, where he would rub his fur all over you and all that stuff. I just really enjoyed that a whole lot.
He was kind of a gag character because I wasn't sure where to take this season when we started it, and I'm just glad. I'm glad it worked out. You literally killed Dracula. It was awesome.
Yes.
So you can't beat that. That's great. That's absolutely great.
Least favorite, I said in the pre-show, Eva Cole, because she's the one that shot me.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to change that
Oh,
to all of the Numfell.
really? What?
Because they didn't explain what was going to happen in that ceremony.
Well, you didn't
And
ask.
I freaked out and I broke the thing. If they would have just communicated, we could have avoided all of that disaster.
Literally, I remember that moment, and you shocked it. I was like, really? And you're like, yeah. I was like, all right.
All right.
Everything gets fucking weird there. That was some good shit. That was some absolutely amazing shit. All right, did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody, right? Everybody on that question? Perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
we're going to go backwards order now.
Wait, did you ask Symbol?
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Symbol started.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, good.
So we're going to go backwards order. Another question that we had. What was your favorite plot arc? Now, it could be like a whole arc. It could be an episode, because we had a couple of like pocket episodes. We had a couple of longer plot arcs. You can pick, like, if you have a favorite plot arc or a particularly favorite episode. You can go around and do so. But let's start with where we ended. Charles Warren, what was your favorite plot arc or episode? Do you have a, even if you want to pick one or two, which ones were your favorite moments in the series?
Ooh, that is so tough because there's so many good ones throughout there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick, just because I was shocked by it, was when we were stuck for the first time in another reality, when another universe, when Krev drove us through that portal, and then we were in an alternate timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and the moment when we met the Ragnar with Captain Zed, and just on crazy, it was, well, I don't know how to describe it. I was so surprised when Velez teleported us quickly onto their ship, which started an undercover, well, not undercover mission, but us trying to infiltrate the ship and get all the data and go off like that. And of course, that led to the climax of where the Pa Wraith-like creature, was that actually a Pa Wraith? I think it was it, or we don't know. But
there will be a section for all the players, all the characters, the actors, actresses, to ask questions of the game master, but that comes later, after we have technical difficulties. So there you go.
So, but that was a fun
man,
spot there.
Right on. Chewbacca, what about you, man?
Oh, I mean, there were so many. I thought the trial.
That's a good one.
And then the kind of the plot line where Krev was befriending the dragon that lived inside of his engine core.
Yep.
Like, it's all he cared about. Like, I pretty much took myself out of like 3 episodes where all Krev cared about was like talking to the warp core.
Yep.
He was like, I'm busy.
Ooh, it's so pretty. You're my friends. Awesome, man. I love it. Let's see who's next. Brian, I believe, was next. Is that right? Am I going backwards order? I think I got it right.
Man.
Brian, take it away.
I think it's recency bias, but I think that last little bit with the mirror takeover of the ship was my favorite.
That was great too.
A lot of fun. It was some of your guys' strongest episodes too. Everyone was on point. Everyone was just literally on point. That's all I can say. That's strong. That is strong. Let's see here. Let's go over to Sidereal Day.
Mimi.
I I think my favorite was probably the stuff with young Gerlach, actually.
Really?
Especially like the end bits of that was really cool.
Like around like the Chrono Station stuff, Eva Cole,
Yeah.
that first
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
that
I really
first
liked
season, second season, yeah.
I liked that there was sort of time shenanigans while we were kind of still in the right timeline,
Mhm.
and how that gave a little bit of leeway every which way.
Yeah. So it wasn't fully focused on the time shenanigans, but they were there.
Yeah.
And you were still like, you still had some agency. You weren't just being flung around, as it were. Kind of
And
thing.
it felt like there was a really. I liked that we had more insight into Eva Cole and Admiral Locke with that whole bit with his son.
That makes sense. Yeah, I really liked what you had said. Who said they liked Eva Cole as a character? Or hated, like disliked.
I liked it
You
and hated it.
Yeah.
I see. That's why I, as the game master, liked her, because I felt she had a sympathetic reason for doing what she was doing.
Cool motive, still murder.
But still murder. Yeah, it's like,
Cool
but she's still a
motive.
murderer. She's still literally trying to like destroy everything. But I digress. That's great. That's great. Simple. Same question.
So I have two things. One, I have a favorite episode, and I have a favorite arc.
Okay.
So for the episode, it is the episode where we were on the Ragnar, and Zed was trying to be the captain, and I was trying to be the first officer, and it was just mayhem, and I loved it because it was the real first time that both Charles and I think we really got to be our characters in a weird situation. Like we've been our characters, but like not in that, like just us in a situation and just trying to, shoulder push our way through. Like it was really fun. And then deciding that, Paris had actually broken from stupid Commander dumbass. That was fun. But the arc, like the whole, starting with the whole transition arc for the Mirrorverse, like, God, that was fun. The amount of stuff I did to try and tell you, it was great.
There were so many moments that you told us afterwards. Like there was the first episode where he is Mirror Paris instead of actual Paris. He wore a Star Trek shirt. Or Star Wars shirt. And just to like be like, hey, I'm not actually who I think I am. Like I'm in the wrong universe, right? It was great. There's little subtle nods that he did, which I thought was great. And I didn't even realize it at the time. And I knew. I was like, that was great. It was very subtle in a good way. That's awesome. All right. Let's hear. So I had one other quick question here for you guys to kind of tie this in. Yes.
One thing, we talked about arcs, but can we also talk about favorite moment?
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to go around and be like, what was your favorite? Was either kind of arcs and episodes? What was your favorite moment?
Well, yeah. I'll just throw out that I will never forget when Captain Treso and Lieutenant Paris strapped themselves to a rocket missile to shoot
Holy shit! That was an episode that we did.
Yeah,
with the stranded alien who was like the hologram and like it was recording, and they were on that planet with like all the missiles and stuff. Like, oh my god, you did strap yourselves to a literal nuclear warhead. You freaking Dr. Strange loved it, which is awesome. Woo!
I got a reprimand for it too.
That's wonderful. That's a great favorite moment. What about you, Mimi?
Yeah, so Commander Ajay hated him, but I personally really loved Dr. Van Helsing. Like I loved that we played into that. She hated him so much.
Yes.
But
it would be a pleasure to work with you, Doctor.
I loved getting to play that she hated him though, because like his personality was so much fun. I love that the Frankenstein, all the references, everything.
Cool. I'm glad. It was super campy, but he was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad. That's awesome. He was a lot of fun to create, a lot of fun to play, and I'm glad that it worked well for you guys. That's awesome. Other favorite moments? Anybody can jump in here. If you have any other favorite moments you guys want to bring up by chance.
I mean, Captain Traso having his blade moment was pretty cool.
That was pretty
I enjoyed that very much.
Oh,
It's like we're fighting vampires.
Yeah.
Crossbow. That's great.
I know it's Krev's most hated moments. I think Drew probably likes those moments. But having to give Paris 2 pep talks. 2.
You can do it.
And relationship advice.
It's like get your shit straight and get your shit straight. Get married.
Are we forgetting when he gave Zed friendship advice for his behavior with the captain in like the first episode?
That's right. Yes.
I know I didn't. I referenced it in my log.
Yeah, it was so good.
That's amazing.
I'm such a shit.
Yeah, but we love you for it.
Yeah.
Speaking on a personal level as the game master, Symbol, as a role player, I've watched you build in confidence over the last 30 episodes, and I'm very proud of you. When we first started, you seemed scared at times, and as we have played more and more and more, you have been more confident to ask for things and to just do things in character in a good way. And I want to say, well done, sir. It's nice to see, and I'm glad I was able to be a part of it, and to join you on that journey.
Thank you, but don't forget, when I started, you were all new people to me, so I had to tip your toe on what I could do, which is normal. But also, I was knee deep in a burnout, just.
And you pushed through it, which is awesome, man. So just want to compliment
you guys helped me the most, so you know.
Good. Awesome. Sidereal Day, I've known you the longest of all these folks. I've actually been playing games with Sidereal Day for on and off for what, like 8 years, 10 years? I don't know. It's been a long time.
Something like 8, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long
time playing with Sidereal Day.
Which
Rolled
is
a lot
we're
of
the 2
dice.
youngest at the table, right?
That is true. I think we are, actually. We are the 2 youngest at the table. But you did a really good job. I don't know how you did it, but you did a really good job as your character being both the first officer and the chief medical officer, and that's impressive. I don't know how you pulled it off, but you maintain a consistency, and you just did a great job, dude. Like I don't know what else to say. I was super happy that you were interested even in the first place in joining. Sidereal Day played almost a 2-year campaign with me and Brian and Drew in a Pathfinder game. And she's become a staple of the server and the channel, and one of my best friends. So I just want to say thank you, dude. It's been great. Charles Warren, you were the new guy that I had no idea what to expect, and all I can say is you were the goddamn heart. And well done, sir. You bring a
thank you for having me.
Unrelenting, just unrelenting positivity to every single time we get together.
It's amazing.
And I appreciate you. And I'm very excited to see what you do in our upcoming series of Stars Without Numbers. And I want to say thank you for joining in that as well. And just keep being you, man. You're a fucking positive guy, and I appreciate you. Brian, you are the best server mod that any server guy could ever ask for. And your portrayal of Absa Traso, he treaded that line between being the crew's friend and being their commanding officer extremely well. And you would see moments of him. The captain in a game is kind of like a co-DM, and never did you try and hog the spotlight, but you did take the spotlight when it made sense for the story, and you helped me as a game master tell what I believe were some very interesting, compelling, and enjoyable stories. So I do want to say thank you for that, my man. It was fucking awesome, dude. And Drew, just don't ever change. You're the fucking man. I love you, dude. You're Karev, and I love what you said about Bronson, because that is part of the reason I brought Bronson in, because you had portrayed Karev as being this kind of gruff, not emotional person. And as the game master, I thought to myself, if I give him someone who maybe cares about him and he can learn to care about, my hope was that it would bring him out of his shell. And over close to 30 episodes, I think we saw that. And that seems to be what you indicated. So that was fucking great. I do want to open the floor to all of you. If you have any questions for me about the series, any lingering wonderings, or for each other, I'd like to just open the floor to you guys here in this moment to ask any questions that you have. An open book. I did this after Solaria, and I'm happy to do it now. And the veil is lifted. It's good. I like it.
Can I also piggyback off of what you said about everybody's characters?
Take it away, man. You have anything to say? This is an open forum. Just go for it. We're
just loved everybody's characters. You know, I think Zed saw Captain Traso kind of as his role model. You know, how to embody the values of the Federation. You know, and I don't know if you noticed it or not, Mimi, but Zed kind of saw you as his mentor or a counselor. He would always come to you to ask questions about stuff and to learn about stuff. Krev, I just loved every interaction that Zed and Krev had, because they're kind of like sugar and salt, or and it just makes for this great interaction every time. And then of course I really appreciate Paris signing that contract of friendship. I really liked, when Zed walked on the ship, it was Paris was the first one that he saw, and it just went from there,
Yep.
So. But yeah, love it. Love this crew.
I am sad that we never I can't speak. Never had a Hollow episode.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Paris and Zed.
Yeah, the Miami Vice episode that we kept talking about doing.
I will say this. My favorite episode was actually the holodeck episode with the captain, and that was one of my favorite episodes, the captain and Krev stuck in the holodeck.
Mine too.
With
definitely.
what is it? Was it it was based off of the China, this High Noon. What am I thinking of? Anyway, I digress. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm crazy. It's but anyway, I digress. I'll look up the old episode thing at some point.
The fact that Krev loves an old Earth automobile is like
it's in my picture right there.
I know. I love it.
That Miami Vice episode will be available to our patrons on Patreon as a special. No,
okay.
I mean, if somebody somehow makes a Patreon for us and signs up for it, we'll do the episode. I mean,
yeah.
All right, I do have a question for Wolf, though.
Go for it.
The episode with the energy beings.
The energy beings. The ones with where they were the Secret Society
testing
episode?
us.
Yes.
Testing us. Time loop thing.
Yes.
Can you tell us what they wanted us to do?
Yes. So they were a species, they were borderline. So they were like, if like Q are like, they can make anything happen, these guys are like one, maybe two steps below them. They were a secret society that looked for creatures, entities, civilizations, or specific groups of people that had messed with time. Basically, they were my idea of kind of like Time Lords, to use that term, and they were there testing you to see whether or not you were worthy of taking on this mantle and basically becoming protectors of the timeline. It was sort of loosely based off of like Loki kind of stuff and things like that. It was very loosely based off a couple of those things like Doctor Who and things, and they were simply testing you. It was also for me an opportunity to play with. I like messing with time. If you haven't realized, Children of Solaria, you guys jump through time. This series, a bunch of time travel. I find it very interesting. What? Wolf writes time travel shenanigans? Doesn't make any sense, right? But for me, it was also an opportunity to play with this idea in a story where you guys are stuck in a time loop, we play one version of the time loop, get the indication that that time loop has happened an innumerable number of times, and this is the moment where you figure it out and you have one more chance. And so you guys each got a chance in that moment, if you remember, to where you could be like, hey, I remember this thing. And so it helped you break the loop, right? It was basically like a Groundhog's Day thing. So for me, sometimes I do certain episodes in a series like this where I'm experimenting with a concept that I might use, not necessarily that specific story, but this concept of like this I guess this how do I put this word, this gimmick, if you want to say, like, I'm going to try this gimmick and see how it works. And sometimes they go well, sometimes they go bad. For example, one of the episodes that I think was our weakest episode, and a lot of that was on me, was the first time we actually met the mirror persons. And it was having you guys play kind of both characters simultaneously. I realized that didn't work well. I also didn't give you guys enough information and autonomy during it to feel like they had meaning. And so as we progress through the series of this last season, to me, I had a lot of conversations with Symbol, Brian, all of the crew about like how we can make it better. So basically my solution was to remove one of the characters and let you fully embody the other one. And then when we got to the point where they would interact, I didn't make you play both characters simultaneously, right? And so that was something Mimi had said to me, is like, hey, thank you for not making me play both characters simultaneously. It's like, well, I learned my lesson. I fucked up last time. It didn't work well, because not everything works, right? But that was a great question, Sybil. Hopefully that answers what your question was. Bit of a tangent there.
Actually, you explained what they were, but not what they wanted us to do, because they specifically said, like, we got the information that it specifically said they're not ready.
So there was a particular way in which they wanted you to solve the problem that, candidly speaking, and I hope this doesn't ruin your immersion, you never were going to solve. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, you weren't destined to solve it in the way that they wanted it. It was, and I again, the veil is lifted. It was a plot device to give you guys, a problem to overcome. And I knew that you would overcome it. It's just you wouldn't overcome it in the way that they wanted you to, if that makes sense. Yeah. I also had the idea that in my headcanon, they wanted you to blow up the other ship to show that you could. So that was, if there was a way to solve it that they wanted you to, it was to destroy the other ship. And because they wanted you to prove that you could make the ultimate sacrifice, you would do whatever it takes to protect yourselves and the timeline. But you guys did everything you could to save them, right? So it showed that you had basically too much humanity, and if it came down to it, you might risk your own lives to save others, and that's not what they need you to do to protect the timeline. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit better.
No, because
it's also an interesting answer, because they also said, oh, they're so quick to jump to violence.
Yeah. But it's more like, what do they want us to do after? Like, if we're recruited...
it was never going to happen. I never thought that far ahead. Never.
Okay. I thought, but it was like, you're leaving us a plot, and then you said maybe they'll be ready one day, and it was like... What's going on?
I was just, candidly speaking, that was just a cool line to say that made you guys think, apparently.
Like, red herring that way.
Red herring. 100% red herring. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. I say I'm a bullshitter. It is what it is. That's what game masters are. So there you go.
No, that's fine. That's exactly what I
which
thought.
Is also ironic, because they said they're so quick to jump to violence. But the point was that they're so quick to jump to violence, just not the violence they wanted you to jump to. That was the thing. They're like, oh, they're so quick to be angry at stuff, but they don't actually follow through. Like, you're all bluster and no actual pew pew. But I digress.
Which is funny, because that's what I was Mirror Paris at that moment, and I was rough with Zed. I called it Captain Mister before taking myself in, and like trying to be like aggressive Paris, not just like over the top Paris. So it was really hard to find that perfect line of like being more aggressive than normal Paris. Anyways,
I liked it though. That's good. That's a good question. What else we got? Any other questions I can answer for you guys?
I have a question for Brian.
Ooh, go for it.
Yeah, hit me.
So, when Treso made that decision to destroy that
the ship,
the living planet,
the big world ship.
Yes. Was he deliberating both sides? What was behind his decision?
Yeah, so
I think it was cool what you did, and it was awesome. So I'm not criticizing it at all.
No.
I'm just very curious.
I have some backstory, which is one of the reasons why Treso is so invested, like so protective of the crew, is that he lost. He was on a mission previously, and he had lost some crewmates and felt really guilty about it. So there was a moment where there was no longer any danger to the crew on the other, because the crew of the other ship had been vaulted. But if he hesitated, there was the potential for that ship to like come back to a threat level that was more than the Ragnar could take. So it was a snap decision of just, if I'm going to protect the crew, this is my opportunity to make sure we're not stuck, trying to fight another planet killer. And so I just fired, and it was immediately afterwards I was like, I should probably have like deliberated a little longer. Okay, cool. He feels very guilty.
But it was definitely the more interesting choice, story-wise.
That choice led us to the court-martial episode, which
Yeah.
allowed us to have the guest star. Like a lot of the episodes that I think were some of our strongest were because you guys threw a wrench that I didn't expect, which inspired us to go in a direction that allowed us to bring in guest stars like Drill, allowed us to bring in guest stars. I do want to give a quick shout out to the crew of the Magmel, the crew of the Boudica. I was very sad that series unfortunately came to a very early conclusion. I was hoping to have some more crossovers with that, but they did a great job. And, we had those two guest stars come over, which was awesome. We had a lot of fun with that.
Fun.
And, really appreciated them doing that. So
and us going over to
you guys going over to them,
going over,
which was
was
awesome too. That was a lot of fun. There's a good episode there. So I definitely want to give a shout out to them and just say thank you guys for doing that, for sure.
To this day, I'm still salty that I never got a science fest with the other science officer. Just saying.
But yeah, any other final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Any other questions for each other, myself, or anything else before we get ready to wrap this up?
The only question I have is for the rest of the crew is, did at any point you think Paris was evil Paris? Like, was there a moment? No?
No, you had me from the get-go.
Yeah. But then after the fact, it all made sense.
Yeah.
The little clues that you had dropped.
Which I think is a good thing. I think it's good that they didn't realize it, but now looking back, they're like, oh my God, how did we not see it?
Yeah.
Like, there were definitely like, oh, that makes sense for Mirror Paris.
I was too busy.
I was too focused on Evil Hagen.
Yeah, he was the distraction Hagen, as it were.
I was too busy meta playing, or playing the meta game of letting Wolf throw me under the bus as the other.
Thank you.
And
for that.
saying the things that would make it so you deliberately weren't sure if you could trust me.
Yeah.
Even though I knew that I could be trusted, like it was just like, well, that's a good plot point.
That scene where you
roll
dragged Zed, like,
that was beautiful.
That was so funny.
Into the thing, it was so sus, and I'm just sitting there going, God, I love you, Brian. I love you so fucking much. Thank you for this.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this.
The explosive in my quarters.
The look of deliberation on Charles's face when he had to decide which of us he was going to try and bring in. Like, I was like, oh man, pick me. I know I'm okay. And then Zed and Krev can, like, we can get it.
Yeah.
And then it was very funny because I was like, Treso would recommend somebody, except he knows that he's sus. So he's gotta not recommend somebody. So he's just like, listen, pick literally anybody. And I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Who would you have recommended?
You. I would have recommended Krev. Because the only other person on the ship that I figured the only two people that on the ship that Treso was sure of would be Krev because you knew him so well, and Zed because he is absolutely completely unable to present any kind of.
Can't lie.
No guile.
That's why he's going to be great in Starfleet intelligence.
So Drillian actually asked, I have a question, she says, if I may. First impressions of Cade versus after impressions. Did you know what her actual purpose on interviewing you all? Been so long, I can't remember how that turned out afterwards. So she was actually interviewing you guys as potentially being like welcomed into, and there was a chance, and I completely gave the decision to Drillian. I said, if you decide that they're good for Starfleet intelligence, hashtag section blah blah blah.
31.
I know.
No, Section 31 is not
yeah, but
time,
if you
they were
gonna,
shenanigans.
they were gonna go,
that's
like,
right.
they were gonna do it. Like, she was gonna, like, then that was the direction the series was gonna go. It was gonna be Starfleet intelligence, Section 31, maybe even temporal folks. Like, it was gonna be a whole thing. I said, this is up to you, no pressure. She's like, what do you mean no pressure? That's a lot of pressure. I said, it's up to you. And after the interviews, we were messaging each other, and she's like, and that's why I had Bouchard go, what do you think? And Bouchard's like, what do you think? She's like, they're not ready. They're not right for it. I was like, all right, fair enough. And so the series went a different direction. As a game master, there were moments where I gave away a lot of the decisions, because that's something, like, as a game master, you tread the line between writing a story and running an RPG. And I find that the more, like, there was these moments where I created these side chats between, like, the real crew and the side crew, and I was like, all right, what's gonna happen, guys? And you guys are just this. I was like, absolutely. Like, can we spend some thought to do this? Absolutely. Like, I try to give away in during certain moments, and there are times where I'm like, nope, like the Chrono Station shit, that was my little baby. I love Chrono Station. I was like, that was some of my favorite shit that happened on Chrono Station, both with the Magmel, you guys, the back and forth, the Q thing, Yarmingundr. That was some of my favorite shit. You know, a little bit of a circle jerk for me. You know, a little masturbatory, but I enjoyed it.
I feel like you did a really good job this series in making sure that we all had agency, like, and
Not always.
a lot of agency.
Not always.
No, not always. I mean, you had a story to tell, but you always, if we asked for something, you gave us a chance. Like, you know, if we needed the scene, you gave us a scene. Like, there was never any like, no, you're doing this and this is how this story is going and blah 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 blah.
That's just bad game.
You always gave us a chance, and it was, I'm just saying, you did a good job, Wolf. Stop.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much, because it's all about, like I say on the server, it's all about collaborative storytelling, and I really want to collaborate with you guys, because, like, I could sit down and just write a story, and I do short stories sometimes, you know, in our RP chats and shit, but I wanted to tell an interesting story, and it wouldn't have been
Wolf,
this. Yeah,
Wolf,
yeah.
So I am going to interrupt you, because you're the only one that's been talking, and none of us have answered what the original question was.
Drill's question was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was just gonna bring us around to
Yeah,
that.
so I'm shutting up.
Drill, for the record, you never had a chance with me to be anything other than an antagonist, because effectively Wolf set you up as you barged onto my ship, took command for no reason, and then implied that there was a potential for me to lose my ship. So at no point was there going to be anything other than, like, by the book antagonism from Traso. Like, you'd never had a chance, and I had no idea why you were there or what the interviews were for, but the implication was very much that we were waiting for, like, the other shoe to fall. So
so far as me, Krev, you never had a shot regardless of what you were there for, and you did it masterfully. You were amazing. You were such a wonderful foil for Krev to slam his little piggy face against, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think same thing for Paris. Paris is the guy that's trying to find his own way, and the whole idea of that, no, Starfleet is slamming down and you're going to conform to even more stuff. It was just, no, Paris is not doing that.
Drill just mentioned she had 5 pages of notes. We created a whole Google Doc where she was asking me questions, and I fed her information and, like, helped, like, fill in holes, and she, like, watched a couple episodes, and I filled in some other things that happened, so she had stuff to ask questions on, and it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, but I will say this: you are by far my favorite character of this whole series, only because you played it so masterfully. It was amazing. Like, I could not hate someone more like, perfect villain.
And, like, watching
crap. We just got a Dare Wolf runs a one shot.
I did it. I threatened I would, and I did it.
That sucks.
Hey, I can do 2 of those, by the way.
Yes.
But yeah, Drill,
Well-
just watching you with Zed and then watching you with the rest of us was so much fun.
It was
I
so
loved that
good.
Zed was first.
It was so good.
I
I
love
think
that
it's-
Zed was
Oh,
first so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
It humanized her in a way that
Yeah.
actually, so because that happened before we had a talk, because I think I went last in that episode.
Zed was first.
Oh,
And
well,
it
I think
changed-
no, I think Krev was first.
Krev was first.
Oh,
Yeah,
then
that's
Zed
right.
must have been like
She-
second.
And
yeah.
then Zed came in. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah.
it really humanized her in a way that changed how I approached that
Uh-huh.
RP, and I actually felt bad because I came in hot, and I don't think you were ready for quite the level of like prepared antagonism I showed up with.
I mean, dude, I gave her name, rank, and serial number for like a full minute.
And as far as Zed's concerned, he came onto the Ragnar fully expecting to be the operations officer, and then when he was made chief of security, also he was doubting that he could do this, and he was really wanted to succeed, you know.
And we
as
all
the
wanted
chief
him
of
to.
security. And when Commander Cade came on, he saw this as a security function, you know, conducting an investigation where he wanted to help, and you know, so that was perfect. And as far as what we thought was what I thought was going on was, I remember Der Wolf, you had told us, you had given us a hint that based on the findings of something or something that we did, we would be ready to go one way or to go the other way, but you didn't tell us what those two things were. So
Yeah, I think
I felt it was involved with that, but I thought it was part of the time shenanigans with Eva Cole and all that, the repercussions of that. Oh,
Yeah.
and I also and one more thing before Drew. I think also part of me thought in some way our big decision would be to decide whether young Locke would live or if DeBob would live. But
Old Bob.
on my end, the implication I got was that, like Brian, we were going to lose the ship or keep the ship. Like those were the two options that made sense. By the way, Wolf gave us the information. It was a pivotal moment. It's very important. It decides if the series goes on. I'm like, are you telling us we're losing the ship?
yeah.
Yeah, Krev was very he didn't really care what it was about. He knew it was look, some stuffed shirt from Starfleet is coming here to ruin my day. Can I please just stay in the engine room and play with this Intrepid class? Leave me alone. Which was pretty much his reaction to everything that happened through the entire series.
That is accurate.
Especially once you got Jormungandr down there.
Oh my god.
I didn't mean to distract you for like 4 episodes, Drew. You just were like every
No,
time
he was happier
I
than
would
he'd
try
ever
to
been.
engage Drew, and he'd be like, "I'm fucking dragon, space dragon, fuck you." All right,
Yeah,
all
Space
right.
Dragon,
Space
dude.
Dragon, fuck you.
Do you not
I hate to tell
understand
you
what
this,
Krev
Wolf.
is here about?
Yeah,
But also, Wolf, any of us playing the engineer probably would have been much the same.
that's fair. I don't take hatred. That's
Yeah, it
fine.
wasn't me. It was Krev.
That is wonderful.
I also really appreciated when Krev built the Crockett, because the naming of it is the Crockett. I just felt it validated the Miami Vice pastime.
Yep.
I just thought it was perfect.
Big Trouble in Little China. Wait, Big
Or
Trouble.
little,
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That's
or
what
was it
based off of.
Big Trouble in Little? Yeah. Was it called Big Trouble in Little Osaka or something?
Little
like
Saka?
that?
That's what it was. Big
Yeah,
Trouble in
that
Little
was
Saka.
the episode, yeah.
One last question. What do you see your characters doing in the future? So we got a couple of like glimpses of in the future. That's a great question, Vampire.
Yeah,
so let's
Do you want to
answer
do a
that.
go around?
Yeah, let's do a go around. Thimble, you go first.
Yeah, so from the logs, he's now part of Section 31. He's hunting something aboard the the Solstice, which is I forgot to mention, but it's a Nova class because I love the Nova class. It's a tiny ship, but she's a beautiful science ship, and their mission to go to the Gamma Quadrant has to do with shapeshifters. So shenanigans.
Oh no.
Oh no, no, no,
That's
no,
good.
no.
That's good. That's good. Good. What about Sidereal Day?
So as mentioned, Shahira is now in command of a very specialized medical science ship. I'm actually envisioning it as an experimental class because of what it is and what it's focused on.
Love it.
So lots of repair work and everything.
Nice. Zed?
So,
Zeb.
in the near future, I see Zed working with Commander Cade, doing these secret missions, possibly within the Ferengi Alliance, where they need a Ferengi to infiltrate something, some reason to justify needing Zed. But after that, Zed never started out intending to be a security officer, but I think now he's taken to it, and I see him as becoming chief of security of some big ship sometime. But in the end, I see him retiring after his career in Starfleet and going back to Memory Alpha, where he was born, and becoming one of the researchers there, or kind of cataloging the collected knowledge of Starfleet and the Federation with
I
the other
love that.
research.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Bri.
Trace is going to captain starships as long as they'll let him.
Cool. I love that. That's straight to the point. Just be a captain. Badass
Mhm.
captain.
Yeah.
Badass captain. What about Drew? I know you're going to be working at the Daystrom Institute. Is that where he stays, or?
I imagine Krev would stay there for a year or two. He would get bored. Him and Lena would start fighting again. Probably almost break up, not like 15-year-olds. But he's really grumpy and she's a hot bullion. And yeah, eventually he would absolutely do something to get himself demoted to grades, and probably try and find whatever starship Traso's working on after him and his now married a second time wife divorce again just as amicably as they did the first time. And then he'd probably go back out into the galaxy and find another starship as a rebound girl.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Wolf will eventually run another Star Trek game at some point with his crew, the specific crew, actually. Well, maybe not this crew, but his cast of characters, his people. So, just as a little foreshadow, this time slot is going to be replaced with a Stars Without Numbers adventure that will probably run for roughly 10 sessions. And then after which point, I am planning to hopefully pick back up. Sidereal Day has some stuff going on over the summer, I believe, for a couple months. Yeah. And when she is free again, and hopefully the rest of the crew is as well, I plan to do a new series, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Star Trek Dark Ages. Now, what that means, it's just a name. I'll give you guys some more information at some point once we get closer to it. But it will be this exact same group of people, and they will be playing new characters and new roles, or maybe they'll bring back one of their... I mean, there's a possibility. You could bring back one of your characters. I don't know. See what happens. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's going to be up to you guys, and when we get closer to that, we'll start discussing it. But in the meantime, as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we get ready to close the curtain on this?
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guys, seriously, thanks for an amazing campaign. I've loved
Yes, it's
playing
good.
with you
It's been-
for
Yeah,
5
me too.
so much.
Fucking bonkers.
Me too.
Well, as always, at the end of our session as well, thank you so much to the players for playing. Truly, from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, this wouldn't have been possible. And now we have a whole series uploaded on YouTube that we can always go back and watch if we feel like it. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. You guys have been super awesome. And Vampire, Drillian, Kura, Bandit Hazard, and everyone else that watches, you're catching the VOD. We really appreciate it. But until next time, be well, be safe, happy gaming. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.